guys, happy Friday. We've survived another week and I'm really excited. We got lots more to go, but that's neither here nor there. So today's class is going to be more of a power flow. Again, if you're familiar with my style or if you've been watching my classes, you know that I like to explain how to get in and out of things. That's not going to happen as much today. We're going to be transitioning through poses rather quickly, so we won't have as much time. So this is your reminder. Partake of your yoga buffet. Pick and choose the things you want. If you need to stay in a pose longer and you want to sample more of that, go for it. Or if you want to avoid the dessert bar altogether, know that you can't. This is your time, especially if it's really valuable time like it is now, because I constantly have my littles around me. They go to bed when I go to bed and they wake up when I wake up. So alone time is sacred. But we'll get started here shortly, but not without your joke. So, which rock group has 4 guys who can't sing or play instruments? Mount Rushmore. Yep, it's another bad one. So fingers crossed, because South Dakota and Mount Rushmore, my son's supposed to go this summer, but only if travel restrictions and quarantine and social distancing is lifted. So otherwise, he's just gonna hear that joke from me a lot. Okay, so we're gonna get started in a comfortable seated position, whatever works for you today. If it means elevating your hips or crossing your ankles, we're just gonna take this time to establish our practice. Bring ourselves in. Start to remove those outside influences in our lives, distractions. Start to listen to our own needs. Find that inner voice, so to speak. Now, it's hard to do, and it takes time and practice. So first, simply notice your breath. Notice that natural breathing rhythm, and then see if you can deepen it. Maybe lengthening the amount of time for the inhales and the exhales. Maybe taking belly breaths where you breathe in deeply through the belly, making sure it rises and falls with every breath cycle. Or perhaps you can find a 3-part breath, or Ujjayi breath, your ocean's breath. Just simply breathe. And as you focus on that breath, you're taking your attention and directing it to your needs. To make sure you have a good practice for you and your body, you need to listen to your needs. Many times during our day, especially in times of crisis, we don't listen to our needs. We put other people first. Take care of yourself today so that you may take care of others. Now, as you continue to breathe and open your eyes, we're going to start to move into our practice today for taking our tabletop or hands and knees pose. As you transition onto your hands and knees, I want you to just kind of gently wake up the body, becoming in tune with it. By inhale, lowering the belly and lifting the gaze, finding our cow. And exhale, rolling the spine and dropping the gaze, finding our cat. Continue to flow between the 2 poses. creating a mind-body connection by moving with your breath. As we warm up all those muscles that wrap around the back and the belly, preparing them for our movement and our poses during our class. We start to become aware. Maybe areas are sore or stiff. Our routines have changed. Our sleeping patterns, our activity patterns have all changed, and our bodies may be responding. Notice those changes and just go with the flow, literally and figuratively. Now making your way back into stillness, finding your tabletop pose once more. I want you to slowly tuck your toes and lift your hips, making your way into your down dog. In your down dog, this inverted V, your hands and feet are shoulder width and hip width apart. Your arms are hugging your ears. Your gaze is on the legs or the back wall. Now you can gently walk your dog here, bending through one knee and lengthening through the other, exaggerating your hips from side to side. You can stay here in stillness, pressing through those heels, working into the legs, maybe not straightening them yet, maybe keeping those heels lifted. Just waking up the body. Now slow and control a wave-like motion, rolling your spine forward, coming into a high plank. Exhale, pressing through the hands as we shift back one vertebrae at a time, making your way into your down dog. One more time, rolling forward, high plank. And exhale, pressing back, down dog. Taking a deep breath in, turning the gaze, walking your feet forward, making the way to the top of your mat, forward fold. Feet may be stacked under hips or feet and ankles and knees and thighs together, whatever you choose. Bend the knees enough, belly can rest on your thighs. Maybe a gentle nod here, yes and no. Just lengthening through the back and releasing tension in the neck and the shoulders. But always ending with our yes, because we try to stay positive, at least on our mats. With your next deep breath in, engage your core, walk your hands up your legs, making your way into your flat back. Maybe hands rest on thighs, maybe shins, or lengthened long. Exhale, bow down, forward fold, and inhale, sweeping the arms high, reverse swan dive. Bringing our hands to heart center, lifting our gaze, taking it towards the sky, rooting down through the four corners of the feet. And then exhale, bend at the knees as you bow down, forward fold. Taking our weight into our hands, stepping back with our left foot. Making our way into our crescent lunge, full leg lifted, or modifying, lowering down to that back knee. Wherever you choose from your high runner's lunge, maybe hands to knee, maybe heart center, or lifted towards the sky. Taking a deep breath in and deep breath out. Exhale, hands through heart center, head comes forward, hands return to the earth. We step back, high plank. It can be full or modified, lowering down to your knees, yogi's choice. Exhale, low, inhale, maybe baby cobra, maybe a little higher in your full cobra, elbows hugged in, or pressing all the way into your up dog. Exhale, making your way into your down dog once more. Taking a deep breath in, turn the gaze, walk the feet forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms high, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift the gaze, and exhale, bow down, forward fold. Taking our hands to the earth, stepping back, right foot. Finding your crescent lunge, your long lunge, maybe lowering to the knee, modifying it, or keeping that back leg lifted. Hands to knee, heart center, or lifted to the sky. Exhale, bow down, forward. hands to the earth, and take that front left leg, stepping back, high plank. Exhale, low, inhale, cobra, maybe up dog, and exhale, down dog. Inhale, rounding forward, high plank, exhale, low. Untuck the toes. Inhale, lift the gaze, cobra. Now we're gonna be here for a minute, but really stretch through the big toes and the tops of the thighs. Exhale, lower the head, press through the hands, shift back, child's pose. Big toes touch, knees together or apart, arms extending overhead. We're stretching through that side body. Maybe sitting lower towards your heels or keeping those hips lifted if you need to modify. Another deep breath in. Extend, walk those fingers forward a little bit, and exhale, walk hands over to the right side. Stretching deeply through that right side. If you like to shift your hips to the left, deepening that side body stretch, you may. Another deep breath in. And as you exhale, hips to center, hands to center. Inhale, reach through the arms. Exhale, rise up, tabletop. From here, shifting forward, modified or full plank. Exhale, low, inhale, cobra, or maybe up dog this time. Again, taking a little bit longer here. Really stretching and opening the heart. Exhale, lower the knees, shift the hips back, another child's pose. Now, just a reminder, if you get tired or dizzy, child's pose is your safe place to go at any time during your practice. As yoga instructors like it when our students go that way because it lets us know how you're feeling and you really can't fall, which is a good thing. Another deep breath in. As you exhale, walk hands over to the left side. Maybe shift those hips off to the right, deepening that side stretch. And then exhale, walk hands back to center. Inhale, we rise up, our tabletop pose. From this tabletop pose, reach that right hand forward, lifting left leg, spinal extension here. Now you can continue to hold it here. Maybe just holding it is enough. Or you can take a flow. Inhale, reach, lengthen, exhale, sweeping out to the side. Inhale, back to center. And exhale, everybody takes hands and knee back to the earth. We're gonna come now to the other side, reaching left hand forward, right leg back, holding your spinal extension. Maybe staying here or taking the flow. Inhale, reaching out to the side, back to center, and then hand and knee to the earth. We're gonna take this one more time on each side, lifting through right hand and left leg, staying here. Inhale, reach, or moving with the flow. Exhale, sweep. Inhale, back to center, and exhale, hand and knee. Coming now, left hand, right leg, maybe staying here, or inhale, reach. Exhale, sweep to the side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hand and knee to the earth. From here, tucking our toes and lifting our hips, down dog. Inhale, turning the gaze, walking our feet forward, forward fold. Making your way into your flat back. Keep that core tight. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. And exhale, hands to heart center. From here, taking our chair pose, we're going to shift our weight to our heels. Toes can lift or wiggle. Hands to heart center. Sitting back in our heels now. Holding it. Maybe sit a little lower. Maybe hands reach forward. Maybe arms by the ears. Sit a little lower. Maybe a little lower. Maybe a little lower. Then inhale, bow down, forward fold. Taking our hands to the earth, stepping back, high plank. Another flow if you choose, or you may choose to skip it here if you're getting tired, but exhale, low, inhale, cobra or up dog, exhale, down dog. From here, walking our feet together, lifting through that left leg, three-legged dog. Taking your foot high to the sky, trying to stack your hips. If you need to, you can bend through that lifted leg, drawing the heel closer to hips and bringing that knee closer to the ceiling. And if you want to have fun with your Friday and flip your dog, you can bend through that lifted leg, shifting weight to right hand and right foot, making your way into your flip dog, or extending arm overhead, making your way into your wild thing. Bringing that arm back to sky, flipping your dog back over, everybody back in your three-legged dog. Bring that left leg forward, planting it between your hands, sliding the right foot forward, rising up. Warrior one. Now taking your time assessing your warrior one. Is that knee gently lunging? Is that back foot planted? Are your hips facing forward? Or are they trying to turn? If they're turning, you may need to shorten your stance or widen your feet. Hands may be at a heart center, they can cactus, or they may rise. From here, we are going to take our hands to heart center. We're going to move into our warrior three. Now we are going, from our warrior three, we're going to work into our half moon. If you know your balance is off, your half moon, you may want to have a block right off your mat to rest your hand on. Now stacking your hips and your shoulders in midair is going to challenge your balance. So take your time, ease into it, use your core here. By preparing for our warrior three, hands to heart center. Tuck, lift. I cannot talk, it's the end of the week, even though I don't talk to anybody but my kids. Normally I'm talked out from my classes. But all right, so coming onto the ball of the back right foot, lifting the heel off the ground. We're gonna shift our head forward as the back leg rises, finding your warrior three. Here, you can bring your arms by your side, airplane arms, you can reach arms forward. But to transition into your half moon, your left hand's going to come to your block, maybe the floor. Trying to stack shoulders and hip. We want to flex the lifted leg, lengthen through that lifted leg, locking it out almost to engage more fully through the core. Trying to bring your shoulder blades towards one another to really open up your chest to the side. From here, bend through that front leg, lower the back leg, taking your warrior two stance. Opening up your arms. From your warrior two, inhale, reverse. Finding that reverse warrior. Length through the side body, maybe hand on hip or thigh. Or taking that bind. Coming back to our warrior two. Straighten that front leg, shift your hips, reach hand forward. Taking our triangle pose. Bend through that front knee, returning back to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, cartwheel the hands forward. And turn the back heel. So the weight's on the ball of the foot. Hands are under, shoulders down. And either taking that front leg, stepping back, high plank, full or modified, or challenging yourself, keeping that back leg lifted, finding a three-point plank. Taking it into your high, then low, lower the leg, and then lift into your up dog or cobra. From here, lower the knees, shift your hips back. A moment to breathe, child's pose. Forehead resting on the floor, arms extending overhead. Relax your breath. Control your heart rate. We have influence over our body by deepening the breath and activating that vagus nerve. Another deep breath in. We're going to rise back into our tabletop. From here, tuck the toes and lift the hips, down dog. Walk your feet together, right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Again, trying to stack and lift your hips. Maybe you bend through lifted leg, trying to draw the heel closer to your hip, knee closer to the ceiling before re-extending. Or maybe flipping your dog by bending through the knee, shifting weight to left hand and left foot, finding flip dog, or taking your wild thing, reaching arm overhead. Coming back from your flip dog wild thing, finding your three-legged dog once more. Bring that knee towards your nose, taking it between your hands, and setting up for your warrior one. Rising up and taking stock. Notice how the body is. Is the foot planted? Is the knee in that gentle lunge? Hands heart center in anticipation of our warrior three. Now if you need your block for your half moon, bringing your block forward. And if you don't have a block and you're feeling off, you can always rest hand on a sofa or a chair, something nearby, just to give you that little added security. But when you're ready, I'm going to get it right this time. Shifting the weight to the ball of the foot, back heel rises. From here, as the head comes forward, the back leg rises, finding your warrior three. Again, hands can stay at heart center. They can airplane or reach forward. From here, rotating shoulders, rotating hips, bringing the right hand underneath the shoulder, maybe to block, maybe to floor, finding your half moon. Flex that foot, engage that leg. And then as you bend through that front right leg, lower the left leg gently, taking yourself into warrior two legs. Back foot parallel with the edge of the mat, front leg deeply lunging, arms extend front to back. Head, neck, shoulders, hips, all aligned here. We're not reaching with our fingers. Not reaching with our head. We're only reaching with our fingers. Inhale, reverse. Maybe a half bind. And exhale, warrior two. Straighten that front leg, shift your hips as you reach hand forward, coming into your triangle pose. Bend through that front knee, returning back, warrior two. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, cartwheel the hands forward. Hands underneath shoulders, turn the back foot so the heel is lifted, weight from the ball of the foot, and stepping back, high plank, maybe modified high plank, or keep that back leg lifted, coming into a three-point plank. Exhale, low, inhale, cobra or up dog, and exhale, lower the knees, shift back. Taking a well-earned child's pose or puppy dog. Just breathing, relaxing. If you need to take a restorative child's pose, you can always walk your hands behind you. Really rounding that chin to chest. And just breathing. Now, if you're feeling tired or thirsty, this is a good break for you to just reach over and grab that water bottle as needed. From here, walking our hands forward, making your way back into your tabletop. From your tabletop, tuck your toes and lift your hips, high plank. Press your hips back, down dog. Now from this down dog, walk your hands back towards your feet, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. And exhale, hands to heart center. And it's now time for our standing balance. Now for our standing balance today, we are going to take our chair pose, option to eagle's nest. Now, taking our eagle. Yes. See, it's Friday. You guys, I'm so sorry. We're gonna take our eagle pose. And then we're gonna take an option to eagle's nest. There it is. This is what happened. I may be completely off routine, but apparently my brain and my tongue are not. They're like, it's Friday, you're gonna mess up. So that's what we're doing. Now the reason we went to chair is because to do eagle arms and eagle legs, we're gonna need to find our chair. But before we do our eagle legs option, I want you to focus on your arms. Now, shoulder mobility is an issue for a lot of people. Now, if shoulder mobility is for you, you're going to work on bringing your forearms and your palms together. With your forearms and your palms together, your elbow is going to be at shoulder level. Your wrist stacking over the elbow, creating that nice, clean 90-degree angle. My engineer father would be so proud. Now, if you have no trouble with hands and palms together, you may later on, as your arms get tired in eagle pose, you can come to this. Now, if that pose hurts you, give yourself a hug. That is your option to open up and stretch the back of the shoulders without putting that lifting pressure, because some people have injuries that putting their arms over their head is not something that's called for. All right, now, so the sun's starting to settle, and I'm noticing that the video is getting dark, so I'm going to turn on the overhead light. So I'm sorry. All right, there we go. Maybe you can see me, maybe not. We'll try the other light. All right, little easy bit better. Sorry, guys. Little random break to your practice. But if you take my class, you know that I really am random. I'm sorry. Okay, so eagle arms. We're going to start with our left under right. Now, again, even with eagle arms, you want that bottom elbow brought up to shoulder level. You want your hands over the elbows. Now, what I see a lot is a lot of times people will start to lower the elbows as they get tired. What happens when you do that is you are putting pressure on that rotator cuff. And if you have an injury or a strain, you're gonna hurt it worse by doing that. You need to keep it strong, active, and lift it. So if it starts to happen, forearms and palms together. Also, the other thing I see is people start to knock themselves in the head. Keep the arms lifted and stacked over the elbows. Now this is where that chair came into play. We're going to shift our feet into chair, that half chair. And we are going to take the weight in the right foot, sweeping the left over right. Now you can kick the toe on the floor, you can keep the foot lifted, or sit low enough in the chair you can wrap the big toe around the calf. Now this is where the arms may start to lower. Focus on your drishti, focus on your balance. And maybe taking eagle's nest by controlled bowing forward, elbow to knee, but not dropping it, just slightly brushing it, keeping it lifted, keeping that core engaged, and then controlling on the way back up. Now release the arms, hands to heart center, control, release the legs, stepping out, taking a breath, and letting it go. Now we're going to work to the other side, and this is where your balance may be off because each side varies greatly. But we'll start with those eagle arms. Sweeping right under left, or palms together, forearms together. Check the elbow. Is the elbow lifted to shoulder level? The bottom elbow. Are the hands over the elbows? We're really working into the backs of the shoulder blades. Try not to shrug your shoulders here, keeping them down away from the ears. Sit back in your chair. Shift the weight into the left leg, cross the right over. Maybe you kickstand the toe on the floor. Maybe keep the foot lifted or sit low enough. You can hook the big toe. Staying here in either your eagle or taking an eagle's nest. Bringing your elbow to knee, but not resting it. Keeping that core active. Then controlling it as you make your way back to eagle. Release arms, release legs. Make your way back to the tops of your mat if you stepped off. Finding your mountain pose, your Tadasana. Relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. Not locking out your knees. Maybe finding your drishti or soft focus, a point on the floor or the wall in front of you, or if you're comfortable, closing your eyes. Now, as you continue to breathe, notice how the body responds. As you deepen the breath, the heart rate slows. The blood pressure lowers. And the mind, perhaps full of racing thoughts, is able to find focus once more. Using this breath to draw us back into our practice. Maybe we've started to grow tired or frustrated. Use this every inhale as an opportunity to begin again. Now continue that deep breathing, but open the eyes and sweep the arms high. Taking a small back bend. If no back issues, you can take the arms extended. And exhale, coming back up, forward fold. In this forward fold, stepping back with our left leg. Finding your crescent lunge. Now in this crescent lunge, gently lower down to that back knee. Untuck the toe. Weight in the top of the foot. Now here you may want your block. We're going to make our way into our half splits, maybe full splits. But you're going to walk your hands back as you straighten that foot leg, flex that foot, square up over it. We're lengthening through the back of the hamstrings here. Now, I would like for you to keep your heels lifted because if you lower your hips, you may feel like you're getting deeper, but you're actually activating through the back and you're not really stretching over those hamstrings. So if it's too tight to have hands on the floor, maybe have a block or two around the leg. Or maybe if you're practicing your splits, you can extend that leg, lowering down. Now, if your hips don't quite reach the floor, this is where you can take a block or a pillow and place it underneath the hips. But wherever you are, gently easing into it, finding that place of rest, even while you stretch here. Control that breath. Coming out of this pose, gently walking hands back. And then bending through that front knee, planting that front foot. Hands walk back, secure underneath your shoulders. Once your hands are underneath your shoulders, I want you to go ahead and bring that front leg behind you, keeping that leg lifted, flex the foot, maybe lowering it to the back of your mat, pressing through that heel, or crossing it over that left leg, maybe directing the gaze over the left shoulder. Bringing your gaze back underneath your nose, your knee back underneath your hip, your tabletop pose. From here, we are going to step that left foot forward, setting up for our crescent lunge modified to transition into our half splits. So walking your arms back as you straighten through that front leg, flex that foot. This lengthens all the way through the hamstrings, through the calves, so that we can focus on finding the proper stretch through all three hamstrings. Again, if you notice you want to sit back so that it releases some of that tension, you may be better coming to hands to a block or even resting hands on your legs. We don't want to take this into our backs. We don't want to put pressure in the wrong parts of the body. We want to stretch properly so that over time we actually develop greater mobility. Now, if you would like to take full splits, you can extend the front leg. Maybe you're working towards them. Maybe you elevate the hips on the block. Maybe you can bring yourself down all the way. But wherever you are, taking that breath, easing into your pose, just taking your time here. Slowly bringing yourself out of this pose, bending through that front knee, planting that front foot. Hands secure under your shoulder. Bring the left leg behind you, maybe keeping it long, flexing it, lowering the ball of the foot to the edge of that, driving through that heel, or crossing it over the right side. Maybe taking the gaze over the right shoulder to peek back at the left toes. Bringing your gaze back underneath your nose. Your knee under your hip, your tabletop pose once more. From here, tuck our toes and lift our hips, our down dog. Now in this down dog, we're gonna go ahead and lift through that left leg, taking it high, three-legged dog. Now we're gonna do that down dog to plank transition we started with, but bring the knee forward. Starting with high plank, leg lifted, bend at the knee, knee towards your nose. Almost a cat-like with the back. Pressing back into that down dog. Inhale, bend through that knee, knee to same elbow. If you like the arm balance, you can take a balance here. Then lower the leg and press back, down dog. Last time on this leg, bring that knee forward. Crossing it over to opposite elbow, maybe taking that arm balance here even. Then lowering the leg, pressing back, down dog, leg lifted. Lower that leg, lower the knees. Tabletop to child's pose. Excuse me while I clear my throat. Taking another deep breath in, coming back into our tabletop once more. From here, tucking our toes, down dog. Walk your feet together, lifting through that right leg, three-legged dog. Bending through that knee, starting with knee towards your nose. Plank position. And re-extend the right leg to the sky. Taking that right knee forward, same elbow, knee. Right knee to right elbow, maybe taking that arm balance. If you balance, coming out of that and bringing that leg back towards the sky. Last time. Bending through right knee, opposite elbow. Taking it to left elbow. Maybe shifting forward enough. You can chaturanga the arms, taking that arm balance. Then coming back, down dog, leg lifted. Lower that leg, lower the knees. And then shifting back, child's pose. Now this time, if your knees are together, you walk your hands back, taking restorative child's pose. Bowing your chin towards your chest, forehead resting on the floor. And if you can grab your feet, and only then if you can grab your feet, you can then start to lift your hips, transferring the weight to the top of your head, taking a rabbit pose. Now we use our arms like bricks here, preventing us from rolling too far forward and hurting our necks. It also gives a great balance of stretching through that arms, which then pulls on the shoulders, stretching between the shoulder blades. Lower those hips, sitting back down, release those feet, and everybody walk your hands forward, taking your child's pose. Another deep breath in and deep breath out. From here, coming back into our tabletop, tuck the toes, down dog. Inhale, turn the gaze, walk your feet forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms high. And exhale, hands to heart center. From here, inhale, lift the gaze. Maybe stretching out the arms, a small back bend, and exhale. Bow down, forward fold. From here, we are going to take a seat. So making your way down to your mat however you would like. This last portion of class is what we're going to use to just kind of gently stretch into our bodies. We kept flowing, we kept moving today. So we're going to take advantage of these warm muscles to really relax the body. And I have an audience now. You know what time it is. It's dinner time. So they're begging me because my daughter's not down here to feed them. You will start to learn the longer we're in quarantine, you will learn the personalities of my animals. And you will be able to tell what time of day I'm teaching based on how they're behaving. Sorry, guys. But like all good yoga classes, at the end of your practice, you can grab your props, your tools. You may cool down rapidly, especially if these power moves were a little bit challenging and you started to sweat or warm up a lot. As the heart rate slows, the body may rapidly chill down, especially when you hit Shavasana. So just having these things available to make your practice more comfortable is encouraged. Now from here, we are going to start in our seated butterfly, or seated bound angle. From here, your soles of your feet can touch. Your feet are 6 to 8 inches away from your body ideally, but you can walk them forward or away from you. Now, if you practice this pose a lot, I do encourage you to try moving your feet half an inch forward or backward just to get a different sensation. We form muscle memory, and when you do a lot of yoga, you go to the same position all the time. Sometimes to introduce new movements to the body will allow you to open up your practice and explore new ways. From here, if your knees hurt, you can also take blocks underneath the knees. But that same method that we work into our stretches, we flat back, hinge forward. We keep our tailbone rooted down the entire time. Then walking our hands forward. Here you may want to block to rest your forearms on or your elbows on. But as you bring yourself more forward with the hands, we finally relax into the pose, bringing our chin to our chest, our nose towards our toes, finding our seated double bound angle. Now, if you can easily drop down nose to toes, I want you to walk your hands forward enough and try to bring your chest or your belly towards your feet. Holding it here, breathing. and then making your way back up into seated. We're going to come out of this pose, finding our wide V forward fold. So opening up our feet into our V shape. Your feet are flexed, your legs are long. Now everybody's V is different. The way our hip bones connect to the ball and socket joint, which is the hip, is different on everybody. The depth of the bone changes. So some people can naturally bring their legs all the way out, and some people have a very small V. And it really has nothing to do with flexibility as much as it does with bone depth. From here though, that same flat back forward. Again, if you need your block here, keep your tailbone on the floor. Maybe you can make it down to your forearms. Maybe you can walk far enough, you can come down to your belly. And if you can make your way to your belly, you can open your arms wide, trying to lay flat on the floor. But don't let the toes or the knees roll forward. We want to keep them pointed towards the ceiling the entire time. Slowly making your way back out of this. Walking our legs together now. Maybe shaking out the legs, pointing or flexing the feet, or windshield wipering the feet, whatever you need to do. But from here, we are going to work into our core work. Now we are going to find our Navasana, or boat pose. If you have issues, take the variation that works for you, or take some form of core work on your back. But we are going to start by bending at the knees, walking our feet in. I'm going to turn to the side. You're going to see that I have a flat back. I'm going to see curve the low spine, and then shift the weight onto the back of the hips, walking my feet in. My heels can stay lifted. Your toes can stay on the ground. Your hands can stay behind your thigh. You can lift through the legs. You can release the arms by your side, palms up. If you really want to go full-fledged boat, you can extend arm and legs towards the ceiling. Now holding your high boat, because we're going to take a high-low boat pose, taking 5 highs and 5 lows. Starting with extending arms and legs, but not letting our legs touch the ground or our head, neck, or shoulders, low boat. And then back to your high boat. And then low boat for 4. High boat, low boat for 3, high boat, low boat for 2, high boat, low boat for 1, high boat, oh alive, low boat, and then all the way down, and breathe, relax the belly, relax the breath. But not for too long, because we need to stretch out our belly now. We're going to take an option to bridge or wheel. Walk in your feet, bringing them closer to your hips. Now we're going to try to keep our knees and our feet hips distant. If you have a block handy available and you ever have a question about hips distance, you can always take a block between your legs and squeeze the block to activate through the proper hip flexor muscles and help you form that muscle memory. It's also a nice challenge. You can do it in your bridge or wheel. But if you're taking your bridge, turn and watch before you press up into it, because you do not turn your head, not even the teensiest bit, not even if The Rock walked into the room and you were like, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan. You lower those hips to the floor first, then you turn and you say hi. But you walk those feet in, arms by your side, lift your hips towards the ceiling, gaze remains on the ceiling. Your chest may lift high enough it touches your chin, but you never roll your chin forward. Maybe you walk your feet in high enough that or close enough you can lift your hips, high enough you can bind your hands, rolling your shoulder blades together. This is your bridge. If you're taking wheel, you can take hands by your shoulders, fingers face your shoulders, and you press up, rising up into your wheel pose. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower down, rolling down one vertebrae at a time until your hips are on the floor. Once your hips are on the floor, you can take that block off to the side. You can find your Supta Baddha Konasana, your laying double bound angle, but we took that stretch already, so it may feel better to knock your knees together and walk your feet out to the side. Now wherever you are, relax. Maybe even open your arms out to a T or cactus the arms as you deepen that breath. Now slowly bring your legs together, your knees, your feet, whatever way you came into the pose. Draw yourself back, arms by your side. Start by first taking your left knee to your chest, hugging it close. Flex that foot. Cross that ankle to the outside of the right thigh. Now before we come into our laying figure 4 or our supine half pigeon pose, we're going to take an awkward twist. You're going to maintain the feet and hip placement. Your feet are going to stay flexed, but we are going to drop that left foot over to the right side. Your left leg's going to rise up in the air. Your left hip's going to rise up on the air. You're going to roll onto that right hip. You should feel that nice stretch through the top of that hip. Just breathe. Now bring that leg back to center. Make sure your hips are level and square, and then find your way in your half supine pigeon. Lifting through the right leg, maybe reaching behind the right thigh, pulling the legs closer to your body, keeping your hips level here. If you're leaning to one side, you're just compensating for tightness. You're not really working into the areas that need the love. Keep that tailbone on the floor. Keep head, neck, shoulders on the floor. We don't need to add any strain to our back. We're going to leave our backs completely out of this pose if we can help it. Releasing that leg, allowing the foot to return to the floor. From here, lifting through right knee, hug it close to your body. Flex that foot. Cross that ankle to the outside of that left thigh. Keep your hips squared. Create those nice angles of the body. Keep the feet flexed so there's no lateral pressure on the knee. And then drop that right foot over to the left side. You're going to roll onto that left hip. The right hip's going to rise. Keep both shoulder blades on the floor, however, and our gaze on the ceiling to really stretch through the top of that right hip. Bringing your legs back to center. Keep the feet flexed. Keep your hips level. And then make your way into that laying figure 4. Maybe reaching behind the left thigh or pulling the legs closer to the body as long as you can keep that entire spine on the floor. Releasing behind that thigh, allowing the foot to return to the floor. Relax the right foot beside the left foot. From here, taking our laying spinal twist, dropping both knees to the left side, stacking knees and pulling legs closer to your body or arms open to your T. But you do have the option to take a single leg where you extend the bottom leg, in this case the left leg, and bring the right knee closer to the floor. Your gaze is going over to the right side, so opposite from the knees, to really deepen that stretch up the entire back. Bringing your gaze back to center, your knees back to center. Use your feet, lift your hips, straighten your back before dropping our knees to the right side and our gaze to the left. Extending the arm to the side to help keep both shoulder blades on the floor. And if you'd like to take the single leg variation, you have no low back issues, you can extend the bottom right leg long and try to bring the left knee closer to the floor. Now bringing yourself back to center. Use your feet, lift your hips, straighten your back. If you'd like to take legs up a wall pose, you can do so. Maybe take a shoulder stand here, just a brief inversion. If you came through shoulder stand, you want to bring your feet behind your head. Toes can touch the floor. You can unhitch your plow. Maybe bending at the knees covering the ears, coming into your deaf man's pose. And if you came through deaf man's, you can gently roll on your back. If you're doing legs up the wall, you're going to bend through the knees, allow the feet to return to the floor. Once your feet are on the floor, you can extend the legs long, making your way into your final relaxation pose. Your arms can come alongside your body, palms up. If your legs are long, your feet splay out. But if you need to bend the knees and plant the feet, you can as well. If you're more comfortable taking your hands to your belly, you may do so. We just want to ensure that our shoulders are properly relaxed. And as every single muscle in the body settles into stillness, we allow the breath to become soft, shallow, and light. Our chest barely rising with every inhale. Relax the jaw, the tongue. The mouth might even slightly hang open. Close your eyes, but do so softly, so you're not squeezing or furrowing the brow. Leave no tension in the body. And last but not least, and certainly sometimes the hardest part, is the mind, allowing it to stay present but without focus. As you find your final relaxation, your Shavasana. Now coming out of final relaxation, deepening the breath. Start to wiggle the fingers, the toes, roll the wrist and the ankles. And if you're comfortable and you want to make your way onto your right side, maybe cradling the head as you pause here for just a second. And before you transition back into your daily lives, my final request is that you find something to be thankful for. And using that feeling of thankfulness to carry you to seated, Drawing your hands to heart center. Your eyes remain closed. I leave you with my final thought of the day. Today it comes from Audrey Hepburn. The best thing in life to hold on to is each other. Unless you don't live in the same house, then it's 6 feet away. Stay safe and healthy, my friends. And until next time, namaste. All right, happy Friday. Thanks for bearing with me and my mushy brain. I swear, all this quarantine stuff is messing with me. All right, bye guys.